Hey guys, MBB here. So today I have a kind of a funny profile. So this is gonna be giant ballpark insect OTK uh, deck. So yeah, this is like pretty fun. Basically the idea is that you want to use your giant ballpark, which allows you to basically during damage calculation, if a player would take battle damage, you or your opponent, pretty cool. You can make neither player take battle damage from that battle, and if you do, send a level 4 or lower insect monster from your deck to the graveyard. Alright, and if you send a normal monster, then you can special summon any number of monsters with the same name from your hand, deck, or graveyard, and that includes the one you sent. So you basically just get 3 vanillas for free. And then the secondary effect doesn't come up as much, but if a monster you control is sent to the graveyard by opponent's card effect, you just get to revive a normal insect from your graveyard. So, as you can see up top, we play 3 copies of Shiny Black Sea Squatter, which is a 2k level 4 vanilla, and then also 3 copies of Insect Knight, which is a 19 vanilla. So, yeah, they've got like decent attacks. So if you use Giant Ballpark to bring out, say, your Shiny Black Sea Squatter, that's like 6,000 free damage on the board. So pretty cool. Um, so of course we've also got Rescue Rabbit. It's a way to utilize all of these vanillas because you're not always going to open Giant Ballpark, right? So Rescue Rabbit, really useful. It's also one of the reasons why we play 2 different vanillas. Is that I mean, if you use like one for your Giant Ballpark, you still want to have a different one for your Rescue Rabbit. You need more vanillas in deck than just like the 3 copies of Shiny Black Sea Squatter. Next we've got the insect cards. So 3 Gokipole. This is a pretty cool card. If it's sent to the graveyard, you get to add a level 4 insect from your deck to your hand. And then if it's a normal monster, you can special summon it and destroy a monster on the field with attack greater than or equal to that monster if you want. So that's pretty cool. Free bounty on the board, destruction effect, pretty nice. And you've also got Aztekipede, the Worm Warrior. So this is like a pretty nice play extender for the deck. It can't be normal summoned or set. You special summon it by banishing an insect from your graveyard. And then the last effect is actually kind of negative, but if it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, send the top card of their deck to the graveyard. But, we're not usually going to be attacking with this. You're usually just using it for link plays or exceed plays, you know. Then we've got 2 Super Armored Robot Black Iron Sea. Really long card name, but if you have 3 insect monsters with the same name in your graveyard, which, your Rescue Rabbit and your Giant Ballpark can help meet that condition, you special summon it from your hand, and then you equip all those monsters with the same name to this card, and then that allows you to use its second effect, where you could send one of the equipped monsters to the graveyard to destroy all monsters your opponent controls with attack greater than or equal to the attack of that monster. So, pretty nice destruction effect. It's got 2400 attack, which is pretty significant. And then another one of these sort of extenders is Doomdozer, which is kind of like a big Aztekipede. But you have to banish 2 insect monsters for it, and it has the same second effect. So, kind of just another one of those monsters. But Aztekipede generally better because you do pretty heavily use rank 4 plays. Then you've got 4 Danger Mothman. It's an insect, so there's a lot of synergy there. And it's just a really good level 4 extender. It helps get stuff like your Gokipole in the graveyard. It helps get cards in the graveyard for your Aztekipede, Doomdozer, Super Armored Robot Black Iron Sea. But yeah, Danger Mothman, really good. And then 2 Resonance Insect, mostly for that second effect, where if it's banished, you get to send an insect from your deck to your graveyard. But also, if it goes from the field to the graveyard, you can add a level 5 or higher insect from your deck to your hand. So that could be your armored robot guy, your Doomdozer, or also one of our 2 copies of Humongous, the sticky string kaiju. So yeah, kaiju's really good, especially in this blind second type of deck. Yes, we got the 3 Giant Ballpark. It's like the main card of the strategy, so you gotta play 3, as well as the one Terraforming, obviously, just to, just search it out at will. You got the 3 Unexpected Die. So the Unexpected Die, along with the Rescue Rabbit, um, allow you to make use of your vanillas, even if you don't have your Giant Ballpark. Um, so yeah, I feel like playing all of these cards just helps justify playing these 6 vanillas, because with just essentially, well, 3 Giant Ballpark and 1 Terraforming against 6 vanillas doesn't the math doesn't really work out unless you play stuff like Rescue Rabbit, Unexpected Die. So yeah, really like Unexpected Die, just a free level 4 on the board. 2 Twin Twisters. It's a blind second deck. I don't think 3 is like necessary per se, but I mean, you could play 3 if you want. That's like totally up to you. I think 2 is fine. We've got the one of Gold Sark, so this just goes for your Resonance Insect, essentially giving you a second Foolish Burial, aside from your one Foolish Burial. So you basically are playing 2 copies of Foolish Burial in your deck, which is pretty cool. One of Mind Control, going second deck, 3 Infinite Impermanence, great hand drop. It also gives you something to do going first. The extra deck, pretty cool. I think this is one of the decks that probably utilizes Link Spider the best, because not only can you link off some of your vanillas to, make an extra deck play going into something that requires effect monsters like Boral Sword, but you can actually use Link Spider's effect. Since you have 6 vanillas in the deck, you're going to end up drawing them, right? So if you can make Link Spider, you can actually special summon one from your hand to actually make some more Link plays or some more Xyz plays. So I think that's like pretty funny that you can actually use Link Spider's effect in this deck. We've got one Inzektor Picofalena. It's actually pretty cool. It's kind of like a Union Carrier type card for the deck. Basically, if it's Link Summon, you discard a card, and then you can equip an insect from your deck to an insect you control, and then it gives it 500 attack and defense. So that's pretty nice. Just basically get anything out of your deck. And then it's also kind of like a Digesto Emerald for the deck. Once per turn, you can target 3 insects in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, and draw a card. So that that comes into handy, just allowing you to recycle some stuff, extend your plays a little bit more. Pretty cool. We've got Defender of the Labyrinth. This is a pretty interesting link monster. It takes 2 normals, so not that hard to make in this deck. And then basically what it does is non-effect monsters you control gain 500 attack, and then all effect monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack. So the main idea with Defender of the Labyrinth is just that attack manipulation effect can sometimes help to secure an OTK. And then also, if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can just target a non-effect in your graveyard, special summon it. Pretty cool. You've also got one Mrs. Radiant. Most of the monsters in this deck are Earth other than the Danger Mothman, so Mrs. Radiant is just a pretty good generic Link monster. I also decided to play the IP Masquerena. This gives you another thing to do going first, but it can also allow you to, well, we have 2 main targets. So we got the Nightmare Unicorn, which you can use with IP on your opponent's turn for pretty good disruption, and also just use it, going second as some generic spot removal. Another thing we could go into with IP is Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax, which takes 2+ monsters special summoned from the extra deck, so you'll usually use IP and then another one of your Link 2s. So that's pretty cool. And basically, if you don't know what this card does, while it's on the field, your opponent can't target it with card effects, and it basically makes all your opponent's monsters attack it if your opponent wants to attack. So that's pretty cool, protecting all of your other monsters from battle. And then once per battle during damage calculation, if it battles a special summon monster, you can make it gain attack equal to the opponent's monster. So pretty hard to get rid of. And so by using IP as material, it also can't be destroyed by card effects. So that makes it so much harder to get rid of. And the good news is that even if your opponent does manage to get rid of it, you just get to shuffle a card on the field into the deck, assuming it goes to the graveyard. So, Avermax, pretty good boss monster. And then the last link is Boral Sword Dragon, just for those quick and easy OTKs. Really good card, especially in a going second deck. And then, obviously, a lot of monsters in this deck are level 4. You have a lot of level 4 extenders. Rescue Rabbit can get out 2 level 4s. You have the Die, you have the Danger Mothman, and Zectopede. Go on and on, right? So you've got Evil Swarm Exciton Knight. This is pretty cool. Basically, once per chain during your main phase or your opponent's battle phase, if your opponent has more total cards in your hand and field than you do, then you can detach a material, destroy all of their cards on the field, and your opponent takes no further damage this turn. So, the best comparison I can make for this card is probably an evenly matched out of the extra deck. So yeah, Evil Swarm Exciton, very good card. Used to be banned. It's really good. Tornado Dragon, kind of like an MST out of the extra deck. Really nice. Castel. Um, this may seem a little bit outdated, but honestly, Castel's pretty cool. It's kind of like Nightmare Unicorn as an Xyz monster, but it only works on face-up cards. You can also use it to flip a monster face down if you want to do that. We've got Baguska. So what you can do with Baguska is make it going first along with like an IP or something. And the nice thing is that Baguska's effect doesn't affect link monsters, right? So your IP is still going to be able to go through even with Baguska on the field. So you can put up some pretty decent disruption going first. We've got Abyss Dweller, another really good going first option. Shuts off a lot of different decks. We've got Gaga Cowboy. So what can sometimes happen is with your OTKs, actually earlier, just like maybe an hour before recording this, I was playing a game with this deck and I got 100 damage off on an OTK, but then I was just able to make Cowboy in main phase 2 and just use its effect for a game. So Cowboy's really useful in that way, but also if you're playing at a real life tournament, then you can use Cowboy going into time, but obviously that doesn't really work online, but still really useful even without that sort of game 3 setting. And the last card in the extra deck is number 60, Dugaris the Timeless. This card's like pretty good utility, honestly. Basically, you can either skip your next draw phase, draw 2 cards, discard 1, so that's really nice. You benefit from having cards in the graveyard, and drawing 2 is just such a good effect. You can also skip your next main phase 1, revive a monster from your graveyard. Pretty good. And then you can also skip the battle phase of your next turn and double the attack of a monster you control. So that's like also a pretty good effect because we are trying to OTK with this deck. So you can use Dugaris on something like a Boral Sword to make it 6k attack. And then, yeah, that's just basically game over. So, yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching. See ya.